Welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty.
This whole ministry of disinformation, one of the things that's caused to come out of the woodworks is Elon Musk and his buying of Twitter is what sort of, brought all this attention onto this disinformation board, popping up and saying that it's going to need to make sure of everything that's coming out of these social media companies. And since Elon Musk bought it and then said, hey, guess what? I'm not in line with the Democratic program or the Democrats program on this. Suddenly, it's been a full court press against Elon Musk and the press. So I just wanted to share a few of these items with you. Maybe we could get some screen share here. So this one from Reason, but most recently, just like clockwork, Me Too allegation has popped up, and so somebody has claimed a story about Elon Musk sexually harassing somebody. So that's item one. Then another, I just find this one absolutely laughable. This website Futurism, it comes out and says, oh my gosh, SpaceX rocket fumes are hazardous to human health and they're bad for the climate. And as if they didn't know what's in rocket fumes all this time. There's nothing magical about SpaceX rockets, okay, as far as the fumes that come out of them. I mean, this is true for anything. Even jet planes that go up in the air put out a lot of greenhouse gases as well. So the idea that suddenly the left is just woking. And then one I just found absolutely hysterical. The View, right after Elon Musk announced that he had bought 9% of Twitter, suddenly came out where they were condemning the safety of Teslas. Nobody else was. It's just the ladies of The View suddenly became worried that they'd be stranded in their Teslas in the middle of nowhere. And according to Whoopi, she was essentially said, the only way you can contact them is with an email, which was nonsense. That's not even true. You just use the app, which is, built in through the car. So and quite frankly, if you couldn't use the app, you'd be someplace where you couldn't use your phone too. So, I mean, this stuff is just amazing watching I guess the media arm of the Democrat Party just moving to work against somebody who is not on their team. So you guys have any thoughts on this?
Well, qualified thought. First of all, you can't really call Elon Musk a libertarian. He's much more libertarian than say, Bill Gates. But he's not a libertarian. He's a businessman, and he has been very, very eager and willing to accept subsidies from the federal government for his various enterprises. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong, not saying it's necessarily right either, but that's just the way business is done in the United States in the 20th and 21st centuries, 21st, 22nd, whatever century we're in the last one. But he is obviously being singled out because he had the temerity to say, you know what, free speech is better than not having free speech on Twitter and everywhere else. And the Democrats are deathly afraid of free speech, just like the Republicans used to be afraid of free speech back in the 60s. The 60s primarily during the Civil Rights Movement, 50s and 60s. Politicians don't want to hear, don't want their misbehavior being publicized. Right now, it's the Democrats that are afraid of their misbehavior being publicized, but as soon as Republicans are in control, it'll be Republicans being afraid of their misbehavior being publicized. So politicians in general are against free speech. The ones that make the biggest noise are the ones who happen to be in power at the time. So I absolutely salute the courage of Elon Musk for knowing that he's putting his neck on the line when he comes out and says, I'm going to reinstate free speech on Twitter. I'll even let Trump come back. I mean, the more you let free speech reign, the more the idiots in the world expose themselves. And that's true of Trump, it's true of Biden, it's true of all politicians. The more airtime they get, and certainly true of Kamala Harris, the more airtime they get, the more exposure they get, the sillier they sound, and the better off we all are, the more this clear to even the slowest among us that we're watching emperors who have no clothes.
Well, I wonder if Nancy Pelosi's jet emits toxic fumes that are bad for the environment. Her private jet that she flies in around. I don't know. Maybe they ought to put a curtail that some way or other. But anyway, yeah. And then, well, it's expected. And this guy got himself into it. But which I applaud him as Richard does. And it makes me wonder when is his ties with Putin going to be exposed by the left? I mean, it's about time. They did it to Trump. They did it to Tulsi. It's about time they did it to Musk. It seems to work too, because all my liberal friends seem to buy it hook, line, and sinker every time. I mean, they just love somebody controlled by Putin is behind every rock and tree, as is a white supremacist. And what's the other one? I don't know. Anyway, there's a whole laundry list of them that are, in everywhere, at all times.
In the 50s, the left used to make fun of John Birch's Republicans, saying there's a commie under every bed.
Yeah, there you go.
Now it's reversed.
Yeah.
Well, James, can I get the image up real quick too? This is something, an insight Musk had that he put out early on with as he started before he made his move with Twitter and such. But he was trying to lay out for the public exactly where his political beliefs have gone over. And so they show this first one in 2008, and he actually shows himself as being a little left of center. And he's saying right here, this is me, and this is the left, and this is the right. And then the left just takes off to the far, far, far left. And suddenly they're calling Musk a bigot. Here's the Senate or center, and Musk just somehow finds himself now on the right, not because he moved, but because the left has moved so much. And I think we've all experienced a little of that in these last few years.
Yeah, they moved the bar over to the left. They moved that bar, so center moved with it. Gotcha.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, always and forever.